Hello, everyone, and welcome on in to our fourth episode, Classic Pro Wrestling with the WFIA podcast. I am a WFIA board member, Chris DiCarlo here. Above me in the corner to my right, above my head, is Mike, the Class DiCagorio from Rhode Island. How are you, sir? Can't hear
Very
me?
good. How are you
There you
guys doing today?
go. Okay, good. And producer, friend of ours, in the corner to my left, upper left, is the only one and only player, Mr. Benny Scala.
Straight out of Playaville, aka Newport Richey, Florida.
And our special guest this week, we are honored to have him, a legend in pro wrestling business, one half of the AWA Tag Team Champions, the CWA Tag Team Champions. He's been all over, a great, famous father pro wrestler, Mr. Duke Diamuka. He is Mr. Pat Tanaka. Welcome.
Hey guys, good to see y'all. How's everything?
Good. We
Yeah,
appreciate you being
Good,
here and
good.
joining us this week.
well, I appreciate you having me. I really do. Thank you.
Well, we got two classic clips and we got a bunch of questions for you. So, Benny, if we will, please roll Tanaka clip number one.
Number one?
Number one.
Number one. Here we go.
And unfortunately, these clips don't have sound, but here we see Pat taking on, which was a great match in Memphis, the Great Kabuki. That classic studio wrestling, man, that was the best.
I enjoyed it very much.
Yes. And here we're going to see Pat and his partner, Bad Company, going against the young Nasty Boys here in Memphis.
Boy,
Wow, they were young there. Holy shit.
Jesus.
I forgot my disclaimer. These videos I do not sell to anybody. I don't rent to nobody. They are strictly my personal library from over the years of being a fan, and I clip them for the show and our enjoyment. So again, we see Bad Company here going against Billy Travis and Jeff Jarrett, I believe that was.
Yes, it was.
So, Mr. Tanaka, first question out of those clips were, which I was confused. Um, AWA Southern Tag Team title you held. Now, was like the AWA Memphis was under the AWA, or like I was
They were,
confused.
well, I mean, at one point they were going to come together. Their main goal was to, um, like AWA and CWA were going to take over Texas as well,
Right.
and they were going to just, worldwide that. But things happen, and especially when you got three different promoters, it's going to be tough. No one's going to agree on anything. Their stars are going to be the stars, and our stars are going to be the stars, and it just really, really never panned out for them. And finally, I mean, I just went to AWA after that.
Wow. Okay.
And I
Uh,
tell you what, I wish I had stayed where I was, because I really loved working for Jerry Jarrett. He was a great guy. His son was great, and what a great person he was, and I loved it there. It was probably one of the best territories I ever worked.
wow. Mike, the class. A question for Mr. Tanaka.
Oh, sure. Mr. Tanaka, as far as your your father was a wrestler, did you ever have any other ambitions of doing anything else besides wrestling?
Yeah, I wanted to be a rock star, to tell you the truth, but since I can't
Nice.
sing, it's not going to happen, right? So, um,
True.
I
Smart.
really, I mean, I never even had the business in mind. um, I never wanted to be a wrestler because I never knew anything about the business. I was an amateur wrestler all my life since I was a little boy, and that's all I ever did. And we weren't allowed to watch pro wrestling. So basically, what happened was I started working for my father, just setting up rings everywhere, things like that. And then they said, "Hey, we need a referee," and so they said, "Pat, you want a referee?" And I said, "I don't know anything about this." And then, the secrets were out, so I started refereeing. And after that, man, I saw what the business really was, and it was really a neat thing, to learn, how to do finishes and things like that. I mean, because referee, one of the most important parts of this match. I mean, of the match. So it is crazy.
Benny, question for Mr. Tanaka.
Yeah, I'm glad that I have somebody who actually wrestled in Memphis, because this is a question I've always wanted to ask somebody who did wrestle there. I started watching in 1968, Pat. My very first match actually was Bruno Sammartino versus Toro Tanaka at the
Wow.
Island Gardens. And yeah, that's how far back I go. But so I'm of the opinion, everybody says, well, Vince McMahon made wrestling better. Now, I'm going to say that if I was a fan in Memphis in the, say mid 70s, late 70s, even early 80s, I get to go to the Mid-South Coliseum every Monday night and
Right.
watch like Pat Tanaka. I get to watch Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, sometimes Jimmy Valiant. I get to go to see, if I really want to, I can go to see wrestling 52 times a year. And then at the water cooler at work on Tuesday morning, I'm sure people are saying, "Hey, did you see that Tanaka Kabuki match? That was the shit." Which I've never seen that match. I think after we're done, I'm going to see if I can see that match. That looks like an incredible match. But I
It
guess
was.
to me, like, as a fan, I think I'm way better off in Memphis in 1979 than in Newport Richey, Florida, because if I'm lucky, they come through here maybe once a year. But back then, you could see them 52 times a year. And I'm sure, like, if you sat in the same seat as a fan, you probably saw the same people every week, right? And you kind of like,
Oh God,
almost like you
there
could
were
have seen them.
loyal fans there.
Right. But I'm saying, like, so, yeah, I mean, I guess it's bigger now, but to me, it was way better back then. So I was just curious as to your comments on that.
Oh my God, it was just awesome back then. I mean, for me, it was, you know, old school wrestling. Coming up with finishes and things like that. And just having the ability, to say, hey, we can do this tonight, we can do that. Change up this tonight. Because every night, if Memphis, and then Louisville, Evansville, and then we had spot shows the rest of the week, except for Saturday we had Nashville. Um, you'd have to be pretty creative because you're in the same place every week,
Right.
so you can't have the same match. And basically, I mean, you just change up, you know. God, and I was there for so many years. Like I guess I was there almost 4 years, I believe, and um, I think that's how I really learned how to work, because you're in the same town, same place every week. So you have to change up. You have to come up with new ideas. You have to be creative. And working in a territory like that, they have done everything and everything. You know what I'm saying? Every finish you can think of, every, spot you can think of. But, you learn how to do them your own way, in your own kind of creative way, because of who you are.
Right.
You can't do that spot and get over with that if you're, someone else. You have to be you, or, make it for you. So that was the difference. Big
I
difference.
tell you what, the WWE, I don't know how many people they employ in creative. I imagine it's a good amount. But in Memphis, it was all what? It was all Jarrett and Lawler that did all the creative,
Ab-
right? So two guys,
Absolutely.
and you had, like, I mean, you guys are wrestling a packed houses pretty much everywhere, weren't you?
Yes. I mean, that was the best thing about Tennessee was, the crowds. If you had a good angle going on, you were going to, just like have huge crowds every night. especially just something fresh and different. I think we got lucky, me and Jeff Jarrett, because we were partners. And then when I turned on him, I think that became probably a different thing, for everybody to see because they couldn't believe it. I've been a babyface since I've been there, and just turned on Jeff for no reason. He was stepping over the rope, and as he stepped over the rope, I pulled it up, and the people were just like, you could hear the gasp through the whole, Memphis Coliseum, and it was really something else. And his father always thought, oh, Pat's going to be this, Pat's going to be, and he was, basically wrong, because, I didn't have what it took to be, a massive, star like, a lot of the guys. So I had to get on my, just really be creative with my bumps, when I took a bump, how I took it. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have had a job. You know, I didn't have that charisma and the talk. I was no mouthpiece whatsoever. I could not do it, and
No, but you were very
they
good
knew it,
and technically in the ring, sir.
and I had to work on that to and be so creative with that because I mean that's really all I had, man. I mean, taking my bumps and things like that because um, I like to make it look like the guy who was killing me, when he hit me, and that was the thing about it. If you don't have something, you're not going to have a job because there's so many wrestlers out there, right? And you got some of the greatest wrestlers trying to get in those territories, you
You
know,
know,
and
Pat,
they've already been there, so it's hard for them to get back in there.
Before you go, Benny, I'm going to say, Mr. Tanaka, I'm sure Shawn Michaels took your
oh yeah,
karate kick from you.
sue the guy.
Go ahead, Benny.
Yeah,
No, I was going to say, Pat said something that just struck with me. He said when he lifted that rope and he turned on Jarrett, that the crowd gasped, and to me, like that is like job well done. And it's so funny because when I went to a wrestling match back in the '60s and '70s, like when I saw Bruno wrestle Tanaka, I legitimately thought that Tanaka was going to beat him, and I was going to, Bruno was my hero, and
right.
I was going to see a fight. I was going to see a real fight. Now, like you watch Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins, he looks like Liberace. Everybody's singing along. It's like now it's entertainment. Back then, it was like you said, a gasp. That's a real emotion. It was real back then.
Yeah, and that was the thing about it. I mean, um, because they had told me, Pat, we need you to turn on Jeff tonight, and you think about it, see how you want to do it, and because they said they go, this is on you. They said because it's you, we need you to do what you think the people would really hate you for,
Wow.
you know, and and I was just going, man. I said, then we shouldn't wrestle before we do it because they wanted the thing where that he was, like uh, getting over, and I was getting mad and stuff like that. You know how they do it. They build the thing up right there. I thought, why not just go out there and fuck him right in the beginning? As soon as he stepped over the rope, I pulled it up.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he sold it like a champ, and he just, I mean, fell right outside everything, and that's when I went to work on it. And the people were just like lost. They didn't know what was going on because I jumped out and just started beating the piss out of them, and they're going, "What the hell? What are you doing?"
Right.
And then the Japs come out and they helped me beat the shit out of them. So it was just like, what is going on? They're all lost. And I don't know if they like that, in the back, because they were going, "What is he doing?" Because I was waving on the Japanese to come out, and then they came out, and we all, just took over on them. Even
And
Jeff didn't know what was going on.
question, Mike.
Just a quick question about how do you feel about the style, this the Japanese strong style of wrestling that's in the newer wrestling? Like as far as they have quite a few different wrestlers that are coming from Japan, and they have one guy, I guess, Nakamura. Have you
Yep.
seen any of the newer? How do you feel
Uh,
about like the different styles?
Um, you go to Japan and you work there. Well, I mean, me, I was trained there. That's where I started, right? So, to me, um, and knowing how the dojo is, it was very hard for me to work there. Because and strong style is not my style. I mean, me, I like the gimmick matches. I like all that kind of stuff because this is America. In Japan, they love that strong style where they kick the shit out of each other every night. You know, because it looks like a shoot.
Right.
A lot of it, and there's a lot of guys that can take some serious fucking hits. I just don't think my longevity would have been great there.
Right.
But I don't like the styles where because they hit so hard that it doesn't look real. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, if you really look at it, sometime you'll be going, God, either that hurt like a son of a bitch, or he didn't even hit him. I mean,
Right.
it's one of those things, or he potatoed the shit out of him, and the guy didn't sell it. So you're wondering, and it was a hard thing for me to understand a lot the bumps. And I just didn't like their styles of wrestling. I would have stayed there because I was guaranteed, to be there for life. But
Yeah.
I just, the American style is more appealing.
One of my questions for you, Mr. Tanaka, is talking about tag teams. Um, Now, the sheep herders, we all know the Kiwi sheep herders were in Florida, then the sheep herders. Now they come to WWF and they're the bushwhackers. Now, really,
Yeah.
all of us
Wow.
here, all right, all of us here, they should have stayed the sheep herders. I mean, what did you think about that?
It. I mean, well, it was great for them because I guess doing that gimmick was to them was fun, and they made money, and plus it was a lot more easier on their bodies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they didn't have to go and do really, really down and gritty matches where they had to color every night, just kicking the shit out of each other every night. It's more fun match with them. Do all the laughing spots, everything like that. For me and Paul, it wasn't something that we wanted to do. You always wanted, like, we always wanted the serious matches where we'd have an angle with
Right.
Billy Travis, Jeff Jarrett, and go on with that for 6 months, or something like that. And when we had to work with them in WWE, it was like, God, what a change, waiting for, you know, um, what was his name? Damn, God, I can't even think his name. One of the sheep herders. Oh, Butch and Luke.
Which
But then there was another one, Jonathan Boyd.
yes,
You know, he was a maniac, man. That guy was crazy. And I think Luke and Butch did one hell of a job being the Bushwhackers. You know, they did great. They did the gimmick perfect. It's just that we didn't like working with them because it was too easy for us. We like going with the Rockers or something like that. Really, really doing our shit and things like that. But
right.
you know, Bushwhack. I don't know if they were happy, but maybe they probably were because they didn't have to take all the crazy bumps and all that anymore. Pretty easy for them, and I was glad for them. And they had a great gimmick, no doubt.
Why don't we roll clip number two, Benny, right now? Tanaka number two, and we got a couple more questions for you. This video package is still, again, no sound, so we can talk over it. Here we see Mr. Tanaka and Paul Diamond in against the Public Enemy. Talk about another good match.
Love them. They were great guys. It's so unreal that they passed so early.
Yep.
Yeah, Rocco Rock died real young, didn't he?
Yeah, right after this. I mean, it was probably like a year after this.
And here you guys are in New Japan Pro Wrestling or All Japan. I forget which it was, but I'd have threw in.
Uh,
Oh, it was SWS.
yep. It was oh God, I forgot whose company that was.
That was
But
91. And then here we see you a little bit recently in the squared circle, showing these two guys who's the boss here. Watch this, Benny. Bang!
Nice.
Mr.
I think
Tanaka
it was
goes
just a
for it.
couple of years
Oh,
ago,
that's
right?
great.
Yeah, and he's showing them how it is.
They were too young and too fast for me. I mean, they were. Oh, I tell you what. After that match, it took me 3 days to get out of bed.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
I was taking some crazy ass bumps in that.
Well, Mr. Tanaka, before I pass it off to the other guys, we always like to ask our guests, knowing that you were in the WWF as well, and of course throughout the pro wrestling industry and your great career, do you have any Iron Sheik or Andre the Giant stories you can share quickly?
Uh, you know, um, I mean, Sheik was, you know, he was definitely a character. You got, and when I say that is because the guy really. That's why he was the world champion, because of the stuff that came out of his mouth. You would be shocked, and just go, "Is he for real?" Because you know, I remember we were in this sushi restaurant one time, and it was like we had probably like at least 8 guys with us, right? We're in this sushi restaurant, and all the guys got a girl with them, and she turns around, looks at everyone, and says, "Everybody, I pay today." And we're all going, "Man, really?" I said, "This is going to be an expensive one, probably like $2,000 or $3,000." He goes, I got it. I am WWF champion." It was great. Anyway, so we all ate and everything, and he goes to pay. He pulls out his pictures and he starts signing them, and he gives it to the owner. And the owner goes, "What's this?" He goes, "Oh, it's my payment to you." He goes,
Oh,
"You're what?" He thought he was going to trade off his pictures for food. And they go, "No, no, no, no."
it doesn't work that way. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was hilarious. We're all looking at him going, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." We all just put our head down and go, "Oh my God." Because he used to
Oh,
try to do that shit all the time. He was
wow.
hilarious.
And those
He
Sheik
really was.
tweets, the Sheik tweets until he passed away were just golden.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I used to
He's
live for
just,
those. Yeah.
What a
yeah. I
character.
mean, oh, there was one time when we're going over the border. Oh my God. Now that story. I mean, he's drinking a beer. We're going through the border. He
Hmm.
pulls up. He's driving. He's got a beer in his hand, and we're all going, "You still got a beer in your hand?" He goes, "I don't want to waste." Like that. We're going, "You need to waste that motherfucker." So they go, "Guys, you're drinking coming over the border." He goes, we go, "No, he just saw this beer, and picked it up and started drinking." And all of a sudden, we're all like, "No, no, we're not." He goes, "Guys, can you pop your trunk for us?" And we're going, "Oh shit!" Pop the trunk. He's got 2 cases of beer back there. And they go, "Guys, sorry, you can't bring this over the border." Again, she goes, "Oh, well, we have to. And he goes, why? Because I don't want to give up the beer. I'm not throwing it away. And he goes, yeah, I'm sorry. We'll take it from you guys, And he goes, no. He dead serious. We're all looking at him going, shut the fuck up. And then he's got a joint sitting there in the
Oh,
console. And he picks it up and just puts it in his mouth, talking to the guys. And I'm going, you got to be kidding me. This guy's insane, man.
Nice.
So, needless to say, we didn't make our show that night, and he ended up going to jail. And it was just like, oh, jeez. Because he was going to fight the cops for taking the beer.
oh wow.
He told him, I'm WWF World Champion. You're not going to take my beer. And I mean, he was going to call Vince. He really was.
Wow.
And tell
That's
Vince, they're trying to take my beer. Can you stop them? And I'm like, oh, God. He was, I'm going
wow.
to call Vince. I said, I don't think you should.
Yeah.
He was crazy. He really was, man. He was something else.
Wow. Mike, you have another question for Mr. Tanaka?
So I wonder how he would think about Hogan's Real American Beer if he was still here today.
Oh, my God. Would that
I
be
got
funny?
some. I got to try
He'd be
that.
calling jabroni and everything like that. Fucking jabroni.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just too much, man.
Oh,
So
Benny.
did he have a real life beef with Hogan, or was that just them just putting on like
He
his?
had a beef with everybody, you know.
Oh,
Either they were
okay.
jabroni, or Vince McMahon's ass kissers or whatever, because he would say either you're a jabroni, you're never going to be anything, or you're an ass kisser going to kiss Vince's ass and get the push that way. Because no one's the world champion like I am. He used to say it all the time. Call
Wow.
everybody a fucking jabroni. It was just hilarious the way he would say stuff like that. We were like, oh my God.
That's
Wow.
I
hilarious.
got another story. I can't say it on here, but it was crazy. He was just nuts, man.
Wow.
Some of the things.
Benny. Benny, another question for Mr. Tanaka?
Yeah, well, more like I want Pat's reaction to my comments. So again, I'm an old school wrestling fan, and I made a list one time of all the things that used to be when I used to watch that really don't exist anymore. Like for example, the use of managers. I mean, you have like Paul Heyman, but back in the day, every heel had a manager. You had 2 out of 3 fall matches. Actually, I used to watch in the house shows. They'd have 6-man 3 out of 5 fall matches. You
Hmm.
don't really have like the draws. You don't have the countouts. Um,
I tell you what, I think a lot of you go into a draw, usually they're for the new kids, to get them in there and make them work a while to learn, because me and Denny Brown, when I first started here, me and Denny Brown, he hated me probably for a whole year because we had to go 45-minute Broadways every night. And I tell you what, that's a bitch to do too, And he was great. He taught me well. I mean, he was such a good teacher in the ring. Denny Brown was one of the greatest. He really was.
was he the
Um,
junior heavyweight champion at that time or no?
yes, he was yes, that's what he was, the NWA, and we were in North Carolina, Charlotte, and I worked for Dusty at the time.
Okay.
He was the booker, and if I wasn't so crazy at the time, would have learned there and had a great, time there too. But yeah, I left Jim Crockett on the mountain one night. We drove up to the top and we got out of the pits. I jumped back in and left him up there.
Oh,
Got fired the next day. Needless to say.
oh, wow.
Yeah, they thought it would be a really funny rib and everything. The rib
Yeah.
was on me.
Mr. Tanaka, really quick. Obviously, we know you worked in WCW, NWA, WWF. Um, in your opinion, the difference between, say, Eric Bischoff being your boss and Vince McMahon being your boss?
The difference?
Yes.
Oh man, Vince was, to me, he's straight up, boss. I mean, that's all it was. I mean, he'd sit down, bullshit with you, have a great time, whatever like that. But he's definitely the boss.
Right.
Eric Bischoff, we were really close before he was a boss. We were in AWA together, so me and him and Paul and a couple other guys, every night we'd be out, going out to bars, having a great time, everything, you know, playing around or whatever. And then when he became boss, it was just totally different, man. He didn't talk to me anymore, just like boss, So,
Wow.
you know, it just became really different.
Wow.
Power really brings out the difference in you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so. Well, Benny, if you want to throw up that ECMC pick for me,
The ECMC.
yes, yeah.
All
please.
right, give me one second. Here we go.
Oh, we're gonna get to that shortly.
Here we
Oh,
go.
there it is. The our fans and everybody out there across this great country, friend of ours, uh, Mrs. Robin Restino. There, you see her name. ECMC is a great hospital here in Western New York. She is in need of a kidney, so we'd like to spread the word and try and help her get one so she can become better. The number there is 716-898-6283. Her blood types are A negative, A positive, and O. Again, if we can help Mrs. Robin Restino get a kidney, that would be awesome. And we thank and appreciate everyone for that. And now, Mike and Benny with our military salute of the week, please. Mike?
Okay,
Mike.
this week's military service salute is to Corporal Kirshner. He was a paratrooper out of the 82nd Airborne, stationed at Fort Bragg. He wrestled in the WWF at the time, under the name obviously Corporal Kirshner, and amongst a few other names. So that's this week's military salute of the week.
Thank you. And you have our indie wrestler of the week. Go ahead with that.
Here we go. Hang on.
Okay, this week's indie wrestler of the week is Wyndham James uh, Winslow, I believe, and he's out of the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance.
In
He
the
goes by
UK.
the name. He's actually from Pennsylvania,
Oh, wow. Look, there
and
he is.
he goes by the name of the Prime Minister. So he plays kind of a heel gimmick, uh, kind of like a British snob, but he's got some interesting music. And again, he is our independent wrestler of the week.
Wow.
And there he
Very
is with
nice.
his championship belt. So again,
Cool.
but yeah,
Looks like a blue blood.
Yeah, from back in the day, right? Wow. And Benny, if you will, our public service announcement of the week here. We like to switch it up each and every week. Is April is Autism Awareness Month. Um, I have a 23-year-old with Asperger's autism. So we just like to also acknowledge it throughout this whole country and world that April is Autism Awareness Month, and you can look into getting help just about in every state and every city. So definitely want to mention that. And
All right.
now, Mr. Tanaka, we greatly appreciate your time and
Thank you.
having you on our fourth episode here as we continue to grow and be with Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate your time, sir, and coming
absolutely.
on. Hopefully, we'll have you again.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, man, for having me. And maybe next time, me and Marty can be on your show. Usually that's what we do now, go on to each other's show and do it together, because we have some pretty funny
That
stories together.
that would be
Yeah,
interesting for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely interesting.
All right.
It
Well,
might not work, but
hey, we
I
all
appreciate it.
enjoy you and
Definitely.
your great career. So we greatly appreciate you, sir.
Well, thank you so
Absolutely.
much for having me, guys. You guys have a great night and a safe weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Yeah, stay
Okay.
warm there in
Absolutely.
Fargo.
Oh,
Take
yeah,
care.
absolutely.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Benny, you want to
Appreciate it,
say this?
guys.
Thank you, sir. Next week we will have Mr. Terry Sullivan with our WrestleMania picks, and that should be very interesting. And until then, guys, thank you. We'll see you next week.